Hi, this is Jonathan from Mnemonic, and I want to give you a very short overview of the regulatory and documents library and the tracking of these obligations in your compliance obligations registers. Here, we're looking at the Mnemonic application. It's simply a website that you log into. Let's first take a look at the library. If I come to the top of the screen here, I click on Library and then Topics. This page shows all the environmental, health, safety, quality, and other topics that Mnemonic covers in its regulatory coverage. We also identify documents that mention critical pieces of industrial equipment that you might have on site and that you want to know your obligations for. To see the full list of all the documents in the library, we come back to Library and we click on Documents. This will load a page with all the internal documents that you've uploaded into the system, such as permits, procedures, and policies, as well as all the external documents that might apply to you. These would be things like regulations, codes, standards, and other items. You can filter this database based on the jurisdiction, based on the industrial sector, based on the type of document, again, whether it's an external requirement coming from legislation or an internal document that you've uploaded into the system. You can also filter it by topics. These are the same environmental, health, safety, and other topics that we saw on the previous page. And you can filter for starred documents. Starred documents are documents that are particularly important for most organizations within a given jurisdiction and industry. You can click on any of these documents to see more information, when they were published, when they came into force, and their current status. You also have the option to hover over it to see a short summary of each document. Let's go see an individual compliance obligations register for a specific facility. I'm going to go back to the home page. On this home page, we have a series of facilities which represent our physical operations around the world. This is purely a demonstration account, but you would set up your own facilities. They can be organized by country, region, business unit, or other organizational structures that you choose. If I scroll down, we see we have the United States demo facility, and I can come over and click on compliance obligations. These compliance obligations registers are lists of external documents that apply to this facility, as well as internal documents that apply to this facility. We've organized it with some parent compliance obligations. These are compliance obligations that have been set by the corporate and propagated or shared down to this specific facility. We then have federal and state regulatory obligations and municipal obligations that apply to this facility. Let's take a look at federal and state regulatory obligations register. I click on that to open it up, and this will list all the documents that are coming from the US federal and Texas state that might apply to this facility. Here in the first section, we see a series of new documents that have been published by government authorities as well as standards bodies such as the NFPA, and that based on the parameters of this account have been deemed to be applicable to this operation. You can click on the review to see what has been published, and you can complete this action to indicate whether or not this applies to you. So we can click here and click on yes, this applies to us. We need to conduct a greenhouse gas inventory every year. And to remind yourself to do this, you can come in and click on internal actions and create an action to generate an actual greenhouse gas report every year. This action then gets populated into your account and it can be assigned to a responsible person or a team. If I scroll down, I'll see other documents that we've already processed and that we've assigned not just notes to, but we've assigned to a responsible party, and we've linked it to our internal policies, standard operating procedures, business units, and any corporate instructions or evidence that might be relevant for this specific document. All of these fields that you see on the right-hand side are fully personalizable. You can add and remove columns to make sure that the compliance obligations register corresponds to your environmental and health and safety management system. The other great advantage of this system is that you can go in and see the individual provisions or clauses of a document. So for example, 40 CFR 98 subpart A I can click on the clauses here, and this will take me into this exact document where we, Mnemonic, have cut up the document provision by provision, and you can filter it based on the type of provision. For example, let's say we want to see just our obligations. If we click on this, it will filter all of the provisions in this document down to the ones that are obligations or requirements for a typical industrial facility. You can also navigate through this document by clicking on the various headers. You can search, and for each of these provisions, you can come in and indicate whether you're in compliance, whether you feel this is applicable, and each time you do that, you leave notes. These notes are saved in the system, and they allow you to build up a paper trail that is particularly useful when government auditors come or when management system auditors come to verify. For each provision, you can also create action items. For example, here I can create an action item, and you have the same ability to link it to your policies, SOPs, business units, and other fields and information that you store internally. Once you've completed this entire matrix of the documents and provisions that apply to your operations, you can easily export it into Excel and then turn it into an audit protocol on our system or in other systems that you choose to use. That will be covered in a separate video. If I returned to the original compliance obligations register, just to summarize, when Mnemonic creates a new account for a customer, we will work with you to map out your operations and your management system. We'll then help you identify the applicable external documents such as regulations, codes, and standards and add them to your account. And we will help you upload your internal permits, documents, procedures, policies, and other items so that you can collect everything in one single location, in one single compliance obligations register. Together, we'll then help you go through these documents and determine which ones are applicable to you and which ones are you in compliance with or potentially have some gaps to close. You can then create action items here to make sure that you close those gaps and that there's follow-up, and you can take all of this information and generate an audit protocol that you can then use to conduct periodic inspections of your facilities. There's a lot more features and functionality that we have not covered in this video, but I hope this gives you a good overview of how the system works. And if you have any questions or would like a personalized demonstration of the system, please contact us at info@mnemonic.com. Thank you and have a great day.